back, everyone. Welcome back, Craig. This is going to be the 12th episode of the Two Player Co-op podcast. For those who don't know, we talk about games, talk about current news, games we're playing, things to look out for. I'm Trent. I'm player 1.
And I'm player 2, Craig.
Yes, yes you are. It's been a long absence, I guess, for holidays, right? Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
You've been gone a long time. How long were you gone, Craig?
I was gone for 13 days.
Like 2 weeks. All
2 weeks, essentially. And it feels so good to be home. I wish I had a vacation from the vacation, but whatever. Because, like, you're on vacation and you're doing a lot of things and, like, you want to go do as much as possible because it's a new place you've never really been to, and you want to be able to be with your family and see them and keep them happy. And by the time you're actually done with all that crap, you're just like, I just want to just sit down and just play some video games or something. Like, it just, like, I got home, I was like, I want to just sit here and do nothing, but I can't. Had to go to work, had to go to school, had to do normal day stuff, so it's like, whatever, I can find now. But it was still a very fun vacation. I got to, spend time with my family and whatnot, but I'd rather be playing games.
Of course, who wouldn't, right? Did your son, I feel like he got some bad stuff going on from Disneyland?
Yeah, so the family that we were with, their 2 kids had hand, foot, and mouth disease. It's basically a form of chicken pox. And while we were there, Noah got it as well. And he essentially was a piece of garbage virus moving around, and he was miserable because it sucks. Because essentially, what it is, it's a bunch of blisters that form around your mouth, your hands, and your feet. It's exactly what it is, and the blisters are like, they get really big and they just pop. Like, you can't. There's nothing you can do. Like, there's literally nothing you can do. So for like the 4 days that he had it, and he still has it, but it's not as bad. But he was just a miserable piece of garbage.
Even more so than he usually is for you.
Even more so than normal. And I can tolerate him every now and again, but I could not handle him when he was sick.
So you got a PlayStation 4, right?
Yes.
And how long did you have it before you left for Florida?
About a week.
A week. So you were able to play it, and then you just barely got back, and I'm sure you were pining to get at it.
I'm wanting to get at it so bad, but damn homework and finals this week is killing me. But here's the kicker, Trent. Here's the kicker. After Saturday really, because I have to do a bunch of crap then. After that day, I can keep us. I'm just gonna sit there and just play as much video games as possible as a responsible father.
Which you're not, so you can play even more than that. Yeah, and I'll get more into what I've been doing and what I've gotten, I guess, more later, because we'll have a big section of just personal stuff on that. I guess we can talk a little bit about some current events, as far as maybe not video game related, but I feel like this is close enough to our hearts, and I feel like our demographic who likes video games also likes this kind of stuff. They cast Wonder Woman for the Batman Superman movie. I forget her name already.
It's a gal. I'm gonna probably say her last name wrong. Godot.
Yeah, she's from like some European country, right?
Yeah.
And she's not very well known. If you've watched the Fast and Furious movies, though, she's in those, the more recent ones. I think like the 4th, 5th, and 6th, if I'm not mistaken. And she's in those, so I don't know who she is because I haven't seen those movies. But they cast her, and she's going to be in the Batman vs. Superman movie. And I'm just thinking to myself, this Warner Brothers is so stupid. They're so dumb. Like, I don't know why they're forcing this so badly. Like, it's like if they had an Avengers movie with just like Captain America, Iron Man, and Thor. I feel like, you know, like they just had a mini Avengers movie. Like, why don't they just follow what Marvel did? It doesn't make sense. It works.
It's too time consuming for them because they're wanting. Because here's the thing, Marvel knew, like 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 I was talking to my family about like the new Thor movie, which is really good, minus a couple of things I didn't like. But what like the first like so Iron Man 2, Thor, and Captain America are all basically a setup to the Avengers. But then when I watched Thor 2, like it felt like it was like its own movie. Like like have you seen it yet, Trent?
Yeah.
Yeah, like did you get the same feeling? Like it felt like it wasn't like you didn't go into it knowing, okay, this is gonna be like a setup for the next Avengers movie. Like you just like, oh, it's a Thor movie, and it felt like it had some small ties here and there, but it felt like it was the Avengers movie. But when like what Warner Brothers is doing is they're trying to rush this idea of making a Justice League movie instead of just like doing a Superman movie and then doing another Superman movie, which they're obviously doing, and then doing a Batman movie, like a Wonder Woman movie, setting all of those characters up like they did, like Marvel did, which is really smart. They gave themselves enough time to where they can actually set up the characters, set up everybody's arc, and establish what they've been doing up to the time where the Avengers basically comes out, or I guess Justice League in this universe, and then make that movie, not just rush it, because they're rushing it so bad with this new Superman, Batman, and now Wonder Woman movie. I think it's really dumb. It's going to be the Spider-Man 3 of them, because when I watched Spider-Man 3, there's so many villains. You're just like, it felt so rushed. I hated it because like I just wanted a Venom movie, and it was just like, who's the bad guy?
Well, it's just sort of to the point where with this movie, it's like, look, man, if you think Justice League, you still have Flash and Aquaman and Wonder Woman, who are key proponents to Justice League, don't have their own movies.
Yeah.
You can't get Green Lantern right. Green Lantern movie that Green Lantern movie sucked. And a lot of people would argue that you can't get a Superman movie right. I'd say probably 50% of people would say that you didn't even get the Superman movie right. So the fact that you're putting all like this, the Man of Steel movie wasn't a blowout. It may have gone commercially successes, was not critically successful though. I mean, when one out of two people like your movie, that's not a good thing, as far as you're trying to bank a whole series on that sort of critique. And when you have Man of Steel, who God, I know so many people who didn't like that movie, and then trying to go from that to a movie with Batman and Wonder Woman, so you're having the trinity of DC Comics in one movie. And you're having David Goyer write it, who is incapable of doing so. He's incapable of writing just a Superman movie.
What are some movies that he's done, just to give him a track record?
What else did David Goyer do? I can't remember as far as...
Let's see. Man of Steel, The Dark Knight, Dark Knight Rises, Batman Begins.
Well, he didn't do The Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises. He probably helped on those, or was a producer on those, I would imagine.
Let's see here, writer. Let's see here, The Da Vinci's Demons. He did Black Ops 2. Let's see here, Flash Forward, and that was a bomb of a show. The Blade series. Let's see, track record's not that good.
What? And he ends with Man of Steel.
Yeah, he did all the Blade movies, and then he did Man of Steel. Yeah.
So you have him, and you're really gonna put DC's three biggest heroes, along with Spider-Man, the most recognizable heroes in the world, into his hands. It's a bad idea. It's a bad idea. And then they're talking about trying to do like a Booster Gold movie and Suicide Squad movie, and I'm like, DC, WB, what are you doing? You don't have that clout. How good would an Aquaman movie be? How good would a Wonder Woman movie be? You have different types of mythology. You have Atlantean mythology, which is well established, even in popular culture. You could work off of that easily. And then you have Greek mythology, which, come on, 300 immortals. It's all over the place in popular culture as it is. Everybody knows who Zeus is. Everybody's seen Hercules, okay? Like, it'd be so easy to transition from Greek culture into and forming Wonder Woman around that. And they're just ignoring all of that. Why are you making... the reason they did Black Widow in Iron Man 2 is because she is such a third party or ancillary, secondary character that is not important as far as, who it is. It's like, I mean, a lot of people will argue that Cyborg is really important, right? It's like Black Widow is like Green Arrow to the Justice League, right?
Oh, yeah.
Or Hawkeye's like Green Arrow to whatever you want to say. That's why Hawkeye and Black Widow don't have their own movies. If you're making Wonder Woman play second fiddle to, and Batman play second, I guess it's a Batman Superman movie, but you're playing Wonder Woman second fiddle to those two, it does not make sense.
Yeah, I totally agree.
They're gonna fall into the trap of she's a woman. It's gonna be bad. This is not gonna be good, man. This is dangerous. And they're like, well, we're WB. We don't have Harry Potter anymore. We got to have something. So and then they just want to go with this, and it's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. And I'm sad. And I'm sad because I am a DC fan. I love DC Comics. I prefer them over Marvel. And Marvel's going to kick their ass. And it's really super sad.
It is sad. Like, here's a question for you. Would you prefer them to just make a Justice League movie and, like, not have to do what they did with, what Marvel did with the Avengers? Just make a movie. Just a fun movie.
It wouldn't work, man. People aren't familiar with Wonder Woman's background or origin stories. Hell, no one was familiar with Iron Man or Thor or Hulk. You have to establish those kind of things. They did a shitty job with Green Lantern, but at least people, I guess, know his origin story. Yeah. Nobody knows Aquaman's origin. Nobody knows Flash's. Nobody knows Wonder Woman's. All they know is Superman, Batman. Yeah. And that is the problem that DC has always run into. You're banking everything around those two characters all the time. You let Wonder Woman always become this two-dimensional character that nobody cares about. Seriously, nobody cares about Wonder Woman, which is sad. And I know the new comics and the New 52 display her as incredible. She's awesome. And really, depending on the writer, she can just be one of the most awful characters. Or because she could be really, really interesting, like Brian Azzarello does with Wonder Woman's individual series in the New 52. If they went that route, I think they'd have something there, but they're not. They're not going to. They're too afraid of the Greek mythology thing. It'd be so easy to do, too. Like, for example, what if, like, Hera, which is Zeus's wife, would be the main villain, but you'd also have Ares as, say, a secondary villain, and then Hera's daughter as another secondary villain, and then there's Hades as another secondary villain, But then you have Hera as the main villain for the first movie. Maybe she brings a Titan for Wonder Woman to fight. Maybe that's how she gets, starts to get used to her abilities. Have like a God of War 3 type of battle on a Titan, swinging around.
So cool.
It'd be so easy to do, man. It would make people so hype. It would make people so hype. And then I was talking with somebody at my work, and he's like, well, you can't do Aquaman for Justice League because in the Justice League movie, he'd have to be around water. I'm like, oh, there's such a misunderstanding of these characters.
Oh, my gosh.
That's what I'm talking about. This is why you can't just do a Justice League movie, and that's the problem. Because if you did a Justice League movie and had Aquaman in it, and he wasn't in the water, people would be like, what are they doing? Aquaman has to be in the... Like, they have to establish his origin and what he's capable of. Same with Wonder Woman. Otherwise, people just won't care. Nobody cares about Captain America or Thor or Iron Man before Marvel made them care. And WB is not going to make people care about these characters, and it's just going to flop. It's going to be
Marvel's
awful.
Smart with their movies. They are incredibly smart.
Yep.
Very smart.
It's the truth, and WB's not. And it's sad to just stand by and watch all this happen. And you know me, man. I want to be optimistic on this. I want it to do well. But I'm realistic about it too. I just don't see them pulling it off at all.
Hell, I think every nerd wants it to be to do well. I think that if any, like, even for me being like a huge skeptic on the Superman movie and like this upcoming one, I still really want to do well. Hell, I wanted the new Superman movie, Man of Steel, to do really well because I love those franchises. Like, every nerd who, like, if you're a nerd that sits there and goes, man, I hope that bombs, like I'm very, like, I'll be the first one to admit that I was very much like that when it came to the Steam Machines controller. I was very much like, I hope that thing just sucks to make people upset. And then, like, after a while, I just kind of, like, realized that the error of my ways and decided, even though I don't like it, I should still be excited for it, for the possibility that it might succeed and change the way we look at controllers. And it should be the same way with like any of those franchises. Like that's what I don't understand with people,
Well,
because you should be excited that something does well that you love.
Well, that's the thing with these people, man. So first off, you have the whole Marvel versus DC, which is as bad as like Xbox versus PlayStation.
Yeah.
Even worse, probably. I'd say we're way worse.
Oh, yeah.
In my experience. And not only that, but you have this weird thing that happens when people are such big fans of sci-fi or comic books. They get so big in Star Wars, right? Like Star Wars, Star Trek, Superman, Batman, those type of things. They get so into it where they feel like it's theirs, and if you don't do it their way, then they want you to fail, or they'll just say this is awful. Like all those fanboys for comic books who say, oh, the costume, like Captain America, where he doesn't have like literal wings on his helmet. They get so nitpicky about the dumbest, smallest things. Like they go so nerdcore, and that's like the opposite of me. I don't care. Like do whatever you got to do to make the story fit and make sense in a realistic way, and I'm all for that. And like I said, I'm a fan of the Man of Steel movie. I'm one of those people who thought it was very enjoyable. I thought it was an enjoyable experience. Obviously had its flaws, most notably in David Goyer's writing, which is very annoying for me, and which is why I'm very scared about the next movie. But I think it's fun, and I like what Superman stands for. I don't care that he doesn't have a belt or he doesn't have underwear on the outside. Like that kind of stuff is so dumb and non-essential to the point of what's coming. And you have those people, they're not so in the majority, but they're the loudest, and they're the ones that stick out the most. And you see them online and everywhere just, kicking and screaming about the dumbest things. And that does not help at all.
It doesn't help at all.
And just one day, internet blowing up about Wonder Woman casting, and they're like, she's too skinny, she better hit the gym, but better put on some muscle. I saw that everywhere. I'm like, you guys are retarded. Wonder Woman does not need to be like buff. She doesn't. She could be a skinny gal. It doesn't matter. She's strong through myth, like mythologically strong. Like
it doesn't matter. Like she could be like a slightly husky woman. People would like criticize her for being not skinny. It's like that crap is, I don't know.
Wonder Woman's hard to cast. Like I don't think I could be completely happy. Like, and who they casted, she's beautiful, and I'm fine with it. Like I have no problems physically with who they cast, because in my mind it's just I have no clue. I was sort of rooting for the Warrior from Thor 2 because there was talks about, or she was, I guess, talking to DC, and so everybody thought. And, she had that warrior experience. Like, she was a warrior in the Thor 2 movies, and she looked like she could pull off Wonder Woman. I'd be fine with that. But, obviously she was not chosen, and, this girl was chosen. But I want you to succeed, WB. I want you to succeed, DC, but you're not. You're on the course of failing really hard, and Marvel just laughing all the way to the bank. Because you're just not taking the time. And it makes no sense. Why don't you take your time, and by that time the Marvel hype will be either old or have died down, and then you'll be there with new heroes and new Justice League, and all the money will go to you. But no. Why you want to directly compete with what Marvel's doing is beyond me. Because they've established it so much better, and in their second phase, which is going to be the most popular phase, it's going to be the Empire Strikes Back phase of Marvel movies, and you want to directly compete with that. You're insane. You're insane, WB.
Take some baby steps, guys.
I'm so upset at them.
If there's an executive watching this either through the stream or through the video, just take your time. Just be like, hey, we gotta just sit here and just kind of, just relax here for a second and not, go crazy on this.
No, money's everything, man.
And that's the thing; they'll still make money. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, and that's fine. But they're going to make a product that's not. I mean, why not have those people on your side? Why not have the fans on your side rooting for you? And it's like when people who want to root for you are scared to do so because of what you're doing, you're not in the best place. And they're just desperate because they have no franchises. And Warner Brothers sucks at making small movies. So, do you remember Catwoman? They can't make...
I just remember the basketball scene.
Oh, God. They can't make small superhero movies. They can't do it. Low-budget superhero movies. it's impossible for them. So I don't know why they think they could do Booster Gold or Suicide Squad and make that interesting for people who, when even in the comic books, I'm like, like Booster Gold annoys the shit out of me. Why, out of all the people, like Swamp Thing, for example, or even Animal Man,
so cool.
why choose Booster Gold? Why Booster Gold? He's the most annoying DC superhero out there.
I honestly know nothing about Booster Gold.
Booster Gold's just...
Is he like the Deadpool?
Yeah, no, Booster Gold's like, he's a superhero from the future, and he's not really a hero. He just takes the future technologies from his time that make him appear to be a superhero. Because, I mean, it's futuristic technology, and it's great. And then he goes back to our time, and he becomes, like, he's a super popular, like, celebrity superhero that puts his face on everything.
Yeah, I remember reading a Blue Beetle issue where he fights against.
Yeah, Blue Beetle and Booster Gold are really, really close, and Booster Gold's like the narration for DC Universe. He'll explain tutorials and stuff, and his like he's got this chiseled chin and the blonde hair and everything.
Yeah, that's right. I hate that guy.
Yeah, I know he's got a huge fan following. I'm definitely not a fan of him. I think he's a joke, but I don't know what Warner Brothers doing. There's our rant. And I mean, the demographic, I feel like, for superhero movies and video games is very closely related. And even now, comic books aren't niche anymore. It's definitely mainstream. Marvel's making that so. God knows I would love a Saga movie. Or a Saga
Oh my gosh.
series of movies.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, Reggie. Watching on your
Ray.
Xbox One, typing on his laptop. That's great. The stream on Twitch, and we'll start talking. I'll talk about that later. Let's quickly talk about a few things I've been playing. I'm going to start, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go for it, man. You've been doing a lot of stuff, so.
Let's see. And, of course, my window never works. Do you remember last cast? It was a couple of weeks ago, right? Unfortunately. We talked about a game, Risk of Rain. Do you remember that game and what it looks like? We've been playing a lot of it. And by we, I mean Reggie and I, and Reggie had a few friends playing it as well. It is quite a fun game, I have to say. I'm just going to play a trailer of it again up here as well. It's hard. I tried to play on normal difficulty the first time. Mistake. Huge mistake. Basically, like I said, what you do is you start off the game depending on the class, and you get gold by killing enemies, and you use that gold to buy items. And then the more items you stack, the more powerful you become, being able to survive until the end. That's basically what it is. You have to fight bosses along the way. And like Reggie's saying, you need to play with us, Craig. The problem is, Reggie, and Reggie knows this, the netcode for this game is quite awful. If you're not hosting, you suffer terrible amounts of lag, to the point where you'll have enemies just circling you, and their life bar will disappear, but they're still hurting you. But they're not supposed to be there anymore. If you suffer from... It'll show you your frames per second at the bottom right-hand side. If everyone is not on the same frames per second, then that means your timing for like when a door opens or when the level's supposed to be over will go longer than intended. Due to, like, if you think of frames per second, it's like time. So if somebody's at 60 frames per second, things are going to pass a lot quicker than somebody running at 30 frames per second, right? So that's half the time it would take. So it's double the time for the people who are running 60 frames per second. It works weird like that in the netcode, but that's how it is. They really need to improve their multiplayer. It's not direct. You have to go through Hamachi, like a third-party server system, to get it going.
Oh boy.
And then the netcode doesn't work that well. I mean, when it's working, it's really fun. It's a lot like Borderlands in the sense that you're working together against these strong monsters and trying to get the most loot, so you can be so powerful. When you get all those items, you feel so great, and you're just destroying everything, especially the sniper. Reggie can attest to this. I play a sniper, and you can charge your shot up. When you charge it all the way, you just one-shot bosses.
That's so cool.
So great. But like I said, it's fun, especially on single player. I mean, even single player, it's just a lot of fun, especially when you get so strong. Multiplayer, I wish and hope they patch and make it better. But yeah, like I said, Risk of Rain has been a lot of fun. It's $10, so I mean, it's definitely worth the money. And maybe it's our connections, and who knows. All right, take it easy, Reggie. You go have fun with Sons of Anarchy. I still need to watch that show. But yeah, I think it's personally pretty fun. So I would check it out. Like I said, it's $10. And we'll talk about another game that came out recently that neither of us have yet to play, but it came out today, in fact. Do you want to talk about the new Persona teaser?
Yeah, so Persona is a JRPG series produced by Atlas, who is now owned by Sega. They recently, this last weekend on, I guess the weekend before I left, 2 weeks ago, they released a teaser for Persona 5 on it being released through the PS5. And it's interesting how like it has a bunch of chairs attached with dumbbells like you'll see in a prison. It doesn't really talk about much. There's really nothing to really say, I mean, except for the fact that it's coming out to the PS3 2015 for the winter release.
2015? So
I believe
far
2015.
2014 winter.
2014, but it'll probably be 2015 for the Western release, let's be honest. But I'm excited because I've been waiting for a new Persona game, and I know a lot of other people have.
It's been a while.
It's been a really long time. Like the Persona 4 came out to the PS2 right when the PS3 came out, which is why they're kind of doing the same thing where the Persona 5 is coming out for the PS3, which I'm totally okay with. I don't care. Like, that's totally fine.
PlayStation 4 will be out for a year by that time, man. I don't know why they're doing that. I feel like there's going to be very few games coming out for PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 by winter of next year that aren't being primarily made for the next generation console. So I thought that was kind of weird, but I mean, maybe they probably been working on it for a while, I'd imagine. Yeah,
that's the thing I understand. Like the Persona series, like there's like so much work that goes into that game, so it's very understandable how it would probably stay for the PS3 instead of going straight to the PS4. But they've also released a couple other, like a 3DS game. I think it's a PS Vita dance game. Nothing really to like notice or talk about. They're just coming out with a bunch of Persona stuff, and then recently they released the Persona 3 movie, which is kind of like, I think it's a part 1 of part 2 movie.
That's usually how they do it.
Yeah, and I really want to see it. It looks really cool. That's all I want to mention as far as the Persona series. Like probably one of my favorite video game series of all time. I'm just excited they're continuing Persona 5 for the PS3. So,
okay, I know you got a PS Vita game recently.
Yeah, this
talk
game.
About that?
Oh my gosh, Trent, this game is so good.
I'm sure there are numbers. Above heads.
Yeah, there's plenty of numbers above heads. So this game right now, like as far as like review wise, it's getting like in the like upper 80s. So the East series, it's YS, but it's pronounced East, so kind of like geese or fleece. It's basically the main hero is Adol Christian, and in this game you lose your memories. Classic JRPG story where you try to like get your memories, get new members of your party, and go from across the land, saving people, killing people, whatever. But this game, just to like put it into perspective for people who aren't familiar with the series, like I wasn't before I played this game, the gameplay is basically Legend of Zelda, a lot faster, better combat, party members. It has puzzle solving. It's really fun. It's quick, and the characters are really fun. The art is so good. The localization by Xseed is really good. They're probably one of my favorite localization companies. They used to be called Working Designs. They did the Lunar series, and they've done a couple of Lunar games Xseed has, and a bunch of other JRPGs have been put, I guess, translated to the US, localized. But this game is really fun. It's fast, and it looks great on the PS Vita. If you have a PS Vita, like, seriously, get this game. Like, there aren't that many good PS Vita games out there that are like RPGs, but this is a fantastic RPG because it's fun, it's fast paced, it's got numbers, equipment, customization, skills, crafting, materials. It's just a long game, and I just recommend everybody at least like look at the East series, because you can buy I think East 1 and 2, as well as like some offshoot game off of Steam for like
For
$10.
sure. You can get them on Steam. And it's Memories of Calcutta? Chelsea?
Chelsea, I can't even say it. I don't know.
I don't know how you pronounce that. But
Yeah, we're just gonna call it Calcetta or whatever.
Calcutta, I can go with that.
Yeah.
It looks fun. You know what it reminds me of? And I've never played any of the Ease games. I want to. I like this the aesthetics of it.
Mhm.
It's really appealing to me, especially to what I like in Japanese RPG games. You know what it reminds me of though is Secret of Mana. If like Secret of Mana had gone 3-dimensional and it was more
yeah,
like if they
dude.
kept making those games, it looks like Secret of Mana because your party system. If they made it like where somebody could control the other party members, this game would probably be so awesome. I know that's probably not the case because that's really hard to do. But can you imagine that? Can you imagine that?
Dude,
It'd be
that's
so sweet.
exactly what it is. I didn't even think about that. I'm so glad you put that into perspective. There's a Super NES game. So there's Secret Mana, but then there's Secret Mana 2, which is like
Secret of Evermore, or is that the offshoot? But same deal. No, yeah, there's Secret Mana 2. That's right.
It's called Seiken Densetsu 3.
Yeah.
It's only in Japan and like sometime it came out in Europe as well. But oh my gosh, that game is so good.
It's amazing.
It totally reminds me of this game as well. So like yeah, definitely Secret of Mana influence on this game as well. Very heavy. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, that's because I was like, I mean, a lot faster paced, obviously,
Mhm.
and more, more flashy and everything.
Oh,
with
yeah.
the moves that they were using, but it's still like in the same vein because if you remember Secret Man on Super Nintendo, you do these flashy moves too, and especially if you like all doing your magic moves, like you and your friend, the best time. The feeling of Secret Mana has not been replicated. I feel like in recent times, but the game looks fun. If I had a PS Vita, which I might. Now, I have a hard time. It's really cheap. It's like you can get one for $170 right now. Really cheap, less than a 3DS XL. And I just bought an Xbox One, so it's like hard for me to. And we'll talk about that later. Yes.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to rationalize it to the point where it's like, and I have a 3DS XL, and I'm still beating all the Pokemon games. I beat Black, finally finished Black, playing through Black 2, beat Y, gonna beat Soul Silver after that. So.
Oh, good Gandhi.
Yeah, I know. That's what I do when I'm not when I'm just like watching Daily Show or something, or just watching Scrubs. Watching through Scrubs again. I'm on 5th season.
Dude,
that show.
I did that.
That
not
show.
So long ago.
Seriously, man. I want to go over a few Kickstarter updates. Now, I didn't find any Kickstarters that really interested me. I do apologize if you have a Kickstarter and you're watching this and you're directly offended. But I really haven't seen any that interests me. So we're just going to go over some that we've talked about, or one that we've talked about in the past, one that we have not, one's really bizarre to me. Anyways, I'm going to talk about Dino Run 2 really quick. I don't know if you've seen this, Craig. It is their final day. They have 23 hours to go. They have not even made 50% of their goal.
Yeah.
I'm going to put this one out the pasture. I'm sorry, man. They have 73,000, which is good. That's a lot. But their goal is 175,000.
It's a really big goal.
It's not doable. You can't
absolutely not
double. You can't more than double your pledge in 24 hours. I believe it's impossible. Please prove me wrong. I would love to see this thing be made, but not going to happen. Sorry, man. I know you were pretty pumped for that.
It's okay. Like, I saw the goal and I was like, oh, that's not gonna. Like, I was like, that seems really huge for like a game that doesn't require that much. Like, I don't know. I didn't think it'd be that much.
I get it. And you know what's strange? It was really depressing going through recent Kickstarters because so many that I've seen that they're not getting funding. Like, I feel like there was just this, like, I don't know, PlayStation 4 and Xbox One came out maybe, and then there's just like the funding for Kickstarters just disappeared. I felt like.
Yeah.
Like some like Paradise Lost, which definitely made its goal, and a few others that we've talked about in past episodes, like 9 and 8, maybe even 10. But the ones that we've looked at recently, it's just not doing well. They're not hitting their goals. And yeah, it's like that. That's that. So sorry, Dino Run 2. I do want to bring up something else, which is weird. And this one did meet its goal. I don't know when, I guess it'll tell me in a minute. It's called Ever Jane. And it met its goal when? It's not saying, interestingly enough. Oh, 3 days ago. It was funded.
Oh, cool.
It's called Ever Jane, the virtual world of Jane Austen. Do you know what this is, Craig? Do you want me to sum up what this game is?
Yes, please, because that sounds really weird.
Jane Austen, which, if you're not familiar with, she's that very popular romantic novelist who wrote Pride and Prejudice. MMORPG. I kid you not. I'm going to read this. You can actually download the prototype, which that would be too dark of a hole. That's a hole I don't want to go down. The gameplay. Look, there's one paragraph of the gameplay here. In traditional MMORPGs, players have stats such as strength, dexterity, and intelligence. In Everjane, we use personality traits that fit with the major characters in Jane Austen's novels. I'm going to read the personality traits. First paragraph here. Players can choose to be like Marion Dashwood, preferring happiness over duty. This decision will gain the admiration of those around her who enjoy her lightheartedness, but will offend those like Mr. Knightley, who prize duty. Personality traits are raised and lowered through daily activities in the game, starting with the gossip system, where what people say about you can affect your reputation and status. I think enough has been said regarding that. Here's the thing. I mean, I would never touch this game. I'm definitely not the demographic. Tell me it's not interesting. Tell me it's not so far out there.
That sounds like I want to try it. I at least want to be like, how is this game gonna work? Like,
instead of there's guilds, there's families. And
oh my gosh.
There's balls and dinner parties, which lead to two major events. You must acquire requisite accoutrements before attending. Balls need gowns, formal attire, and carriages. Dinner parties require formal clothing, and while unlike the balls, characters may walk to the party, most will want to acquire a better form of travel.
Oh my gosh.
Now, this is interesting to me only in the sense that this game feels very heavily dependent upon social status, much like the novels themselves, especially for the period pieces that they were written in. And I'm trying to wrap my brain on how that's going to work. What people actually say about you is going to reflect on your stats. That's what it sounds like. Right here, are raised and lowered through activities in the game, starting with the gossip system, where what people say about you can affect your reputation and status. It's strange, right? So other players are going to have a direct impact on your stats, your reputation and status. So, in a way, it's kind of cool. I know that's weird for me to say that about this game right now, but if you think about it, if this is executed well, and like I said, I kind of want to play the prototype just to see how it's done. But you have to have great diction and charisma and speak well, or I guess write well, because they're not going to actually be speaking. But you have to write well and be convincing and likable, I guess. And the more you are that, the more successful you'll be. Instead of grinding out numbers and doing that or whatever you want, you actually have to interact. It forces you to interact and then have people have a favorable opinion of you. That's kind of cool. I mean, can you see where I'm coming from here?
No, it's like an interesting, like, it's a different way to like have gameplay. It's more like, it's like exactly what you said. It's more socially based. It's you go to like a party or a ball, which I guess would be like a MMO world. It'd be like a raid or a dungeon.
Yeah, definitely.
And like you essentially try to boost yourself using the stats that you have to impress the people, to gain further reputation. That just sounds so weird. Like I'm really interested to see like how that would work out. Like what, like, do you have to have, is it like a PvP match where you talk to certain NPCs and like have like options, and like other people like in the ball are trying to persuade the house as well, and like you are talking to other people to gain more favor, and at the end of the ball they determine who has the most favor at the very end, and that person or that group gets the loot.
Well,
like that sounds so weird.
Yeah, right. It doesn't sound doable. It sounds too complex. But I appreciate the ambition there. And it says the quest system allows us to create storylines involving the various players in the game based on their goals, situations, and the story arc of the village, which is cool. I guess villages would be servers, and you know. The gossip system keeps us informed as to the goings on in the village and allows the development team to actively curate player experiences through quest modifications tailored to players' own stories. So based on your own story, that which you're going to have to be very active in your own origin, I guess, in your family. And then I guess the creators of the game are going to be active in what you do, which is kind of cool. It's
That's
like,
really cool.
think of it in terms of World of Warcraft, where you create an orc, and you create a background for the orc, and you create the story. And one of the GMs goes in, sees what you've done in the past, sees how you're interacting with people, looks at your origin, and creates quests and stories based off of what you've done. That's what this sounds like they're doing, and if that's the case, I gotta give them some props on that. I really do. That sounds pretty cool. And if nothing else, it might be a good way to do things for other games in the future. That sort of, because that's what we want, right? That's your role playing. That's the whole point. That's the draw of a Dungeons and Dragons game with pen and paper over a video game, because there's no boundary to your imagination when you're playing a game like that. But there is. You're sort of pigeonholed into stories that World of Warcraft wants you to play,
Right.
or whatever. Pick whatever MMORPG you want to play. And it sounds like they're trying to circumnavigate that in this game, which I gotta respect. Yes, it's a Jane Austen MMORPG. Never thought I'd say that in my entire life. And I guess we can watch the video here, just as an example of what it is. And you know, I can't imagine it being. So I mean, there you go. You pick. You are. I mean, of course, the graphics are going to be very modest. I mean, let's just be honest. For an independent MMORPG in general, the graphics shouldn't be expected to be too good.
Right.
So it's going to be heavily focused on your interaction in the world and how you interact with people. I can tell you that this is definitely, like, it'd be like, what's a good metaphor? It's like somebody who's never touched a fighting game trying to go play Daigo Umehara, a professional fighting game player, in the sense that we are so unfamiliar with the culture. I mean, I'm familiar with the books. I'm familiar with the type of stories they are. But the people who really love these books and really love these stories are really into it. And I feel like they'd be able to make use of the system where if I went in there, I wouldn't be able to get into it like they would and get my ass kicked, if that makes sense. I'd be the scrubbiest of scrubs in this world. And it looks pretty basic in what you saw as far as that trailer. And this is the person heading it. Yeah. I mean, it's weird. It feels too ambitious, man. I don't know.
It feels fake. Like it feels like we're making this great a Jane Austen movie, or not movie, MMO, but it doesn't really exist. We just want your money.
Yeah, like
that's it. Like it's,
well, you can play a prototype.
together.
You can download the prototype.
She's so
Look,
old.
you can just download the prototype right now. It's funded, so they'll be coming out with that game. Really interesting.
Oh,
Look into it. Maybe I don't know if they. I just want to be interested if I created own character and then they created storylines based on my character. That's pretty cool. That would not make me be a long-lasting player of this game, of course, because I am not its demographic. But I would love to see some of other games do that. So I thought that was a cool idea as far as that goes. Also a weird one. Jane Austen MMORPG. Strange.
Such weird.
Anyways, we're going to talk about Xbox One and PlayStation 4. Let's just go to it.
Let's just hit this.
Let's just do it. I am going to be representing Team Xbox in this conversation because I own an Xbox One, Craig. And Craig, you are going to be representing Sony PlayStation 4. There it is.
Team PS4.
Because, as you just proved, you own a PlayStation 4. Now, I want us to be very objective. We're not going to be fanboys here, and we're not fanboys in general. I want us to talk about what we like, what we dislike, what we want to see improved, and then the games we're playing. Let's start with the likes. Craig, what do you love about the PlayStation 4?
Do we just want to mention like one thing and then just
No,
kind of like...
just mention the things that you love about it, and we'll talk about it.
Okay, obviously the biggest thing that I really love about the PS4 is that it's fast. Like, you start it up, and you're already through the menu. You can pick your game. Like the system itself is very fast, and you're able to play a game, download the game, have stuff happening in the background. If you want to like record like gameplay footage, it's recording 15 minutes already, and it keeps backing it up. So if you decided, oh man, I wish I got that footage of me doing a headshot on some guy, you have that footage available for you to basically have to share on Facebook or to stream off of Twitch. I love the games that I have right now. I love Killzone. I love Knack. They're very fun. They graphically look amazing.
Are those the two games? Yeah, which games do you have?
Just Knack and Killzone right now. And then I wish I could remember the game.
It came with the free game, right?
The free game. And there's a couple other free games that you can get off of the PSN network, which is... I love the PSN network. It's really cool. I think they've really stepped up their game to make it to where it's like the Xbox Live system, which is I still feel is far more superior as far as being like a social multiplayer way to play with your friends. Another big reason why I love the PS4 is the controller. Oh my gosh, this controller is amazing. It's wide. The buttons are responsive. It's exactly what I want. The triggers have like a little lip there to where if you're playing a first-person shooter, your finger doesn't slip off. I love the feel of the buttons. It doesn't feel cheap. It feels solid. It's a little hefty. I like my controllers that have a little heft. I think that's another reason why I didn't like the PS3 controller that much, is it felt
very, very light.
Very light. And some people like that. I don't. I like a hefty controller. It has little grips here to where you actually feel like a quality item. And that's a big thing. The PS4 just feels quality. It doesn't feel like they've skipped out on anything, that they missed out on anything in the hardware-wise or how it looks, or like it just feels incredibly well done. And I just think it's a well-done machine. Obviously, it has some things I wish were better, but overall, I'm very impressed and I'm glad that I have a PS4.
All right. Well, Xbox One. I too love the controller. Improvements. I was sort of iffy when we held them at San Diego Comic-Con. They felt a little too small, and it feels perfect to me now. I don't know why that is. The analog sticks are a little bit more raised as far as height is concerned. They also have lips on the ends of each one, so your thumb just stays there a little bit better. It feels good. I love
the analog sticks for the Xbox One controller. They're so good.
They're nice. I gotta say. I mean, I went back to play Grand Theft Auto on this thing, and it's just it's a different feeling. Like, I'm holding it right now, and it does not feel right to me, which is really strange. The Xbox One controller just feels better overall. It's really good about shutting off if you don't use it. Saving that battery power, which I'm a huge fan of. The thing I hated about the PlayStation 3, that controller never turned off. You'd just be watching Netflix, and it's like, oh, sorry, it's dead. Like, every single time. I hated it. And no one wants to just manually turn it off. No one does that, man. I guess maybe only the PlayStation 3 hardcore users might do that. I'm used to Xbox, where it just shuts off after a while. So
right.
That's something that I always had better. The D-pad feels amazing. It's so much better than this thing. Even this thing remember this controller, which is supposed to have the better D-pad?
Yeah.
Like, it's the twisty D-pad. This thing is nothing compared to the Xbox's One D-pad. It's so responsive. Like, I was playing Killer Instinct, and I can feel the clicks for each motion, like for forward, down, and then when you do down forward, you can feel it. So it's great, because I don't have a fight stick for my Xbox One, so I've been using my controller. So the controller's great. The system's huge. It's just huge. It's so large, and I had to move my TV over just to fit it on, which is fine. I mean, it looks great, though. It's a beautiful piece of machinery. I love the Kinect, which is something I was not expecting. I didn't think I was going to use any voice commands, and that's basically all I do. In fact, I'm I'm avoiding the controller. It's too much to wait for the controller to turn on. It's too much of a hassle. We're living in the future. I need my stuff now. And there's, you lay on your couch, you have a blanket on, in the winter, which it is. You're comatose, and you're just like, I want to play next episode. Xbox select, play, and it just, okay, yeah, we got you, don't worry about it. It's just talking to it, bossing it around, really, really fun. And the integration, I guess we can talk about that later with games, as far as Kinect goes, it's pretty cool too. You can see the potential there, and I'm really excited. Of course, it's what, 2 weeks in, if that.
Yeah.
So not even 2 weeks in. So I mean, we got a lot of waiting to do. I love, like you were saying, how fast it is. There is a dream come true to be able to pause my game, say Xbox, go to Netflix, play the game. It's like, oh, are we done watching that show, Audrey? Yeah. Xbox, go to Dead Rising. And it's just immediate there. It's right where I was.
Mhm.
Don't have to boot up the game. Or say, when you want to go to Xbox Live Arcade or look at a store. Do something else besides play your game for just a moment. For example, Xbox One, you can record clips and stuff. I'm sure you can do that with PlayStation 4. I know you can.
Yeah.
And you're just like, you have a friend text you, oh, dude, check out my latest clip on Forza. It's like, okay, friends, clips. Okay, that's cool. Good job. Okay, back to my game. Like exactly where I was. It's great. I love being able to say, Xbox, go to Netflix, and then it pulls up immediately. You and I even have to search for it in the user interface. It's wonderful. And just the whole upload, just like everything's so slick and so clean as far as what it's doing. I'm having a good time with it, man.
Yeah.
Such a good purchase. Such a good purchase. I'm so glad I got that day one and all that. But they're both not perfect. I think we can admit to that, Craig. I think these things are far from perfect. Let's go ahead and talk about the things we don't like. And I guess we can combine that with things that we want to see improved. What are you unhappy with? Or maybe disappointed with the PlayStation 4?
Geez, I think a big thing that I'm not too happy about is I'm trying to figure out how to say this and not. So like after like watching videos with the Xbox UI compared to the PS4 UI, I still feel very firm without even touching an Xbox One. I still feel that the Xbox One user interface is more superior to the PS4. Just because of how, like for example, if I want to do something like hit the PlayStation button, I have to go out and like kind of like switching from game to the system and like going to something else is it's kind of tricky. It takes like it might take you a while because what you have to do is you have to hit the PlayStation button and then you have to. Like if you want to log out a game completely, you have to hit it again, if I remember correctly, or hit options. It's not exactly like a user-friendly system. Like I feel like the Xbox One like user interface is a lot more friendly to somebody who hasn't actually like played the system. But at the same time, I look at the user interface and like the Xbox One is basically built to be not just a gaming system, but to be a multimedia source where you can watch TV, use music. But I feel like the PS4 is strictly mostly for games, and I think that's kind of a down point for it as well, not being able to have that being a one multimedia box that the Xbox One has. So that's another thing I have kind of like a little I wish was a little better. And then obviously like we could always gripe about this, but I wish there were more exclusive titles that were a little bit better, that were like
Not
Uncharted. Yeah, that like aren't like not Killzone, like an RPG. Something from Naughty Dog or Sucker Punch, which they are coming out with the Infamous 3 Second Son, and then I wish Watch Dog was out. But
yeah, me too.
I'm trying to think of some other stuff that bugs me about the system. Oh, one thing that bugs me that it really isn't that big of a deal is so whenever you want to use a capture card, there's a block called HDCP. I don't know what it stands for exactly, but you can't basically stream to your capture card. What you have to do, which I'm working on right now because I love my capture card and I want to use it, just because it's a lot better than using. Oh, here's one thing I completely thought of is the streaming service for the PS4 is garbage. I think it's awful. I don't think it's that good at all. People who use it, I'm sorry, like it's not that good. Like to only be able to see two text, like right, I'm fortunate enough to have the PS4 next to my computer to where I can watch people's comments and stuff. But to only be able to see two comments and like the user interface, it like to not be able to put a picture up for myself. It just looks bland. It's very simple, which I guess is okay, but I don't like the way it looks. I just don't like it. That's why I want to make my capture card work But back to the HDCP thing, like you're not able to use a third-party capture device unless you find a way to go through it. And what you have to do basically is to get a DVI converter, where you basically get an HDMI cable that connects to a DVI. It's not that awful. It's actually really simple. But
you have to go that extra.
You have to go that extra mile, but they're fixing it. I don't know when, but they're fixing it. And that's another thing that bugs me. But yeah, those are the things that do bug me with the PS4.
Yeah, so Xbox One, and a lot of people have said this, it's great when Kinect hears you. When it doesn't, it's like the exact opposite. If it doesn't understand you, you're like, this stupid piece of shit. I said go to store, not Twitch or whatever, you know. It's just, and it sounds so stupid, but it psychologically, it's so satisfying to have that your system listen to you. It's the future. You're in the future, telling your computer what to do. If it doesn't listen, you're like, all right, you're starting a rebellion early. I see how it is. I see how it's going to be. You better listen to me next time. And apart from that, a huge problem is party chat is not working most of the time for people.
Is it not?
And you can see this online if you go see online. And two friends of mine at work confirmed that they had problems with it. And it's not even a rare thing. It's just default. And Reggie and I had problems with it day one. What you do is you get into a party and it snaps. You've seen the Snap apps, right? The party snaps in, and you can see who's in the party. But what you have to do is it's just going to talk to the game. Like in the game you're in, you're just talking with each other until you turn on party chat. You have to turn it on. But each person has to turn on party chat to be wanting. If they don't want to be in party chat, then they don't have to turn it on, and they can just be part of game chat. But to turn it on, it's like if you both turn it on at the same time, it depends on how you turn it on, and then you just won't be able to get in party chat together, depending on how you turn it on. It's just like a crapshoot to get it to work. Ray and I got it to work after like 45 minutes. It was frustrating, dude. And I was just like, I want to play this game. We want to play Battlefield 4 together. And I'm going to go straight into it, because Battlefield 4 pissed me off. We're going to go straight into Battlefield 4 and how no one should buy that game. Have you played like Call of Duty? You've played Halo, right? Halo, Call of Duty Online. So there's a pregame lobby typically, right?
Right.
Does not exist in Battlefield 4. What happens is you go into multiplayer, and it'll say quick match servers or some other thing that I never picked. So you go into quick match, and it'll give you like team deathmatch, capture the flag, squad team deathmatch, all those little things that you play. There's no option. If you're in a party, the Xbox One recognizes that, so it parties you up. But what happens is whoever picks one of the servers to go into, or one of the games go into, the game types, you'll go in, you'll join, and then the message will pop up and say, hey, one of your party members is joining this game. Do you want to join as well? A for yes, B for no. So you get in there. I kid you not, we tried to play squad deathmatch, which is 4 different squads of like 6 people against each other. You know, so 3 squads versus you, but that means, you know, tons of people to kill. And there's also, they could be killing each other. So it's pretty cool. I like it a lot. And single player Battlefield's great. Don't get me wrong. Gameplay is so much fun. It's so much different than Call of Duty. We never got on the same squad. The entire time. We played for like an hour and a half. We never got onto the same squad. It was the most frustrating and boring thing ever. Because why play that? From a multiplayer standpoint, if you're trying to play with your friends, why even bother with it? So not only is the Xbox party system having problems, but the game that we bought was just... And it's completely broken. And the people who made the game, they finished their DLC this week. And they said, we are not working on anything else. We're not working on any more DLC until we finish what's wrong with the game. That's how broken it is. They stopped development of their DLC. That's how much they need. That's how much trouble they know they're in. So that really hurts, man. It's because I bought that game. I made a conscious effort to go from Call of Duty to Battlefield. And I'm like, great. And I know Call of Duty has pregame lobbies, and that's all I want. I just want to be on the same team, and I want to be, you know, being tactical with each other. So that really hurt. As far as that goes, it's so clear to me, buying a system day one, you just feel the lack of incentive to have it. The store is completely empty. I'm like, yes, I know the games that exist. And then there's XBLA games or Xbox Live Arcade games that is just like, no, I don't want those. There's no choices as far as games. And like you said, there's no console exclusives that where you're like, yay. And I did buy one console exclusive. I got Dead Rising 3. which is not only console exclusive but also a next gen specific game. It's not on Xbox 360 like Battlefield 4 is or PC or anything like that. It's just on Xbox One. And I'll talk about that a little later when we talk about our games, our favorite games. But I don't know, man. I feel like there's nothing more. The Blu-ray player works incredible, so no complaints there. It's just I'm just waiting for the potential to be met. Does that make sense? It's just like, this is really cool. This is awesome. You need to fix some things, though. You know, it has some errors. Like I remember day one trying to create like a picture for my avatar. It's just error after error. You know, it's day one. So, and I know that they were like 6 months behind schedule than what they were wanting. So there's that. Not being able to import pictures from my gamer picture, I'm like, this is the future.
Why can't
Can I have my own media? And they're stuck in their ways. It's a closed system. That's not a PC. That's what PC has over like Mac, and that's why an Android device is better than an Apple device. No offense, Craig.
Debatable.
Is the customization. It's a huge. You gotta admit, it's a huge pull for a lot of people, and
for some people,
the ability to install apps that aren't accepted from the Google Store, for example. Like you can install custom-made apps that aren't accepted by Google Play. I want that in my Xbox One. I don't want it to dictate the content. And I know that you don't want people putting penises up there. I get that. But at the same point, it's like you got to let us just be us. I mean, you look at Battlefield 4 and Call of Duty, people making penises of emblems. It's just going to happen. But most people don't do that. And that's how I feel like they should play with this. I don't know. They probably don't want to deal with it, but I just...
That's why they don't do it.
There's just...
too much of a hassle.
You can tell it's next gen, right? When you're playing on PlayStation 4, it's quick. Being able to switch between apps and games is really great. But you just feel it, man. You just feel like they're not quite there yet. It's still the era of PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. They didn't make it like, why do you have a 360 or PlayStation 3 and not the next gen? It's not that at all. It's just like, of course you... Like, just wait. Yeah, no. Play your 360. Play your PlayStation 3. There's nothing here for you yet. I don't want that, man. And I wish they capitalized more on that. And I know the Xbox One sort of rushed it out to compete with the PlayStation 4. It's obvious. I just think, overall, though, the potential of the Xbox One far surpasses the cons of day one. The problems with day one. It's going to be a phenomenal system. I mean, you remember how Xbox 360 looked, and the internet will remind you constantly.
Oh my gosh.
It's a huge jump. But the PlayStation 3 never changed throughout the whole
It
life.
never did. And
It didn't change once.
It's like... It's kind of crappy how it never changed, but at the same time, like, it was a good, like, user interface that was, like, very simple that I wish could have been better, like the, like Xbox, like Microsoft did for the Xbox One, or Xbox 360. But I still looked at my PS4 and I'm still very satisfied with how mediocre the user interface is, to say the least. But I totally feel you when it comes to the next gen consoles. Like I have a lot of gripes with the fact that it's like I could have waited a little longer. But I think to myself, like, down the road, now that I have a next gen console, I don't have to worry about getting that console anymore. I can just worry about getting the upcoming games, and which are coming out this next year. So that's going to be really cool. So, like,
it's true.
Yeah,
we already got our ticket into the party. We just have to wait to pay the additional fee.
It's an investment, I guess.
And I feel like they took some back steps with Xbox. Like Friends, like the Friends list, like that Friends app it's just too much. You have to go into the Friends app, and it goes into your page, and then you have to click Friends, and it loads up this stream that's really slow. Like, it's really cool. It's like a Facebook kind of post where it's just like, oh, your friend's doing this. Oh, your friend got this achievement at this time, this many minutes ago, which is kind of cool. I like that. But it's like, to actually see who's online, it's kind of a chore. You have to go. It's like, oh, friends. Okay, load friends. Oh, okay, and then there they are. Where I'm used to, like, home button on 360, friends list. Here's what people are playing. Invite the party. It's not that simple. Like, we were trying to figure out how to get people in parties, and like how does the party interact with my game. I don't know if it's the Battlefield 4's fault, and I think it is. I don't know if you heard this, but EA games for some reason the campaigns on FIFA 14 and Battlefield 4 got deleted.
Oh my gosh.
Two of my friends, I had a friend who has FIFA 14 campaign and a manager mode campaign and Battlefield 4 campaign, and they both got deleted. And I'm like, what are you doing, EA? You're just doing the worst. What are you doing? But Dead Rising 3 is one of the most fun video game experiences I've had in a long time.
It looks really fun.
It is so much fun. I'm telling all my friends, look at my Dead Rising 3 clips, trying to convince them, because like you do challenges, and any successful goal challenge it'll upload a video game clip automatically. And that's what I like about my Xbox One too. It makes me feel good. It's like if you level up in Battlefield 4, it'll record a game clip of what you did to level up, which is kind of cool. And then you could just delete it later. And I love being able to say, Xbox, record that, and it records the last 30 seconds of whatever you did in your game. Really cool. Or you could just say, Xbox record, and it starts recording, or Xbox stop record. Really, really cool. But yeah, Dead Rising 3 is a definite buy. If you have an Xbox One, you gotta get it. It's so much fun. This open world zombie game with tons of zombies on. I think I got like up to a 600 zombie kill streak. Like, it's ridiculous how many zombies on screen there are at one time. And then, other than that, I think you can wait. I think you can guys wait to get an Xbox One or PlayStation 4.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That's our consensus. Yes, people, the games are looking better as far as resolution goes on the PlayStation 4. I think that's going to be temporary though, until the developers can figure out how to program or how to get frames per second.
That's going to be like 2-3 years from now, honestly, I'd say.
One of the developers for Call of Duty said it's like 6 months out.
Really?
That's what he's expecting, yeah. It's like, yeah, the day one stuff, you're going to have the PlayStation 4 is just going to be better resolutions, and it is for a lot of games. And that's fine. I mean, you can notice the difference, yes. I did when I saw comparison pictures, but I mean, I don't think it's that big of a deal. I really don't.
No, it really isn't that big of a deal. I think people complaining about stuff like that and making it too big of a deal or nitpicking stuff like that, because like you said, 6 months from now, like they're basically going to look very similar, and it's not going to really make that big of a deal.
Yeah, it's just not something that you should worry about when making your purchases for your consoles. And they're so similar, man. I mean, really,
Yeah.
there's not. I mean, like Craig is saying, and I agree. And full disclosure, I haven't played PlayStation 4, and Craig hasn't played Xbox One. We will hopefully someday in the future figure that out. But I love the user interface. A lot of people complain not knowing where to go. I think that's kind of stupid. It says your apps and games. This is where you go. If you want to look at games in the store, here's where you go. It's very simple. I don't know. And if you don't know, just say go to app. Like, go to the app. Just say Xbox,
Right.
go here. Like, it's so simple. I've never had a problem navigating that. But I don't know. It just feels natural to me. They have tons of tutorials, too, right off the box. Like, hey, let's get to know your Xbox One. And it tells you everything how to use it. So I'm like, you people must have just been stupid and not.
Is there a way to skip the tutorial?
Oh, yeah, you don't have to do the tutorial.
Yeah, that's why. Because
Yeah.
that's what I don't get. Like, because exploring the next console user interface is so fun. Like, I remember just going through the PS4 user interface and just trying to figure out where's what and what to do. And it was a fun experience. It was like buying a new house and exploring every nook and cranny.
Seriously, and there's this thing called Upload Studio. So it's like Upload is the app where all your Xbox recordings go to, right? Upload Studio is like a video editing software in your Xbox One. You could be you could record your face and then be point the stuff that you were doing in the clip from your Kinect, and then you can edit the clips together, and then you can cut and clip where in the videos that you want to do. I'm like, this is ridiculous. This is so cool. It's going to open up a lot of stuff. And if you go to Upload, you'd be it shows feature clips of what people have been doing in their games. Once there's a big library of Xbox Live Arcade games, and there's a lot to look like, it's going to be like a Twitch community in a sense where, oh, I want to check out that clip from that game, see how that plays. Or I love being able to check out my friends' clips to see how they play games and to see what they're doing or their play style. It's really fun. Do you have any friends on your PlayStation 4 list?
Yeah, I have Ricky. He's on there. I have my brother, and then I have Scott as well.
Scott,
and I swear I have one more friend who has a PS4 as well.
Is it pretty simple to look at their clips? Like, are there clips?
Oh
Have they
yeah,
made
it's
clips?
it's really simple. It's really easy. The friend to get to like to see your friends is super easy. All I have to do is like hit up and like you can see who's like how many friends you have online. Click the friend thing and it shows like all of your friends and what they're doing.
Yeah,
That's
it
it.
sounds a little quicker than Xbox One. I think, and
Yeah.
Xbox One's great. Like being able to like add somebody to your
Mhm.
following. Like, oh, I want to be friends with them, and if they don't accept you back, you can at least follow what they do
Yeah.
and the games they play. That's super smart.
I think that's really cool.
There's a lot there. There's just untapped potential really with Xbox One. I'll say. I don't know about the PlayStation 4, but
I think it's the same way. I think both of them are in a very, very simple phase right now where like they neither developer really can know exactly what they can do with them, and like they're just learning more and more just from people like using the system on like seeing things off of Reddit or just various other websites, figuring out like, hey, this would be really cool if they had this feature, and people are like, oh man, that's a really good idea. Let's try to make that into work. It's so early to tell, and like I hope that like the PS4 does what Xbox 360 did, where they continue to improve their user interface, figuring out what to do, like as far as like improving not only user interface but like features, or even if they want to fix the controller later on or whatever. Just I hope it continues to like improve and not just be as stagnant like the PS3 was.
yeah, and I mean, I wouldn't say any of. Well, I'll just speak for Xbox One. I would not say it's a must-buy at this point.
Yeah.
I think the Kinect's a must-experience item,
Mm-hmm.
which I wouldn't have said before. The Kinect 2.0 is amazing. It's sleek, it's sexy, it's responsive, it's great. Like when you set it up, when I was setting up my Xbox, it sets up your Kinect and it reads the mic and then it projects the image of your living room, and I'm like, wow, that looks great. That's really high definition, my living room right there. It's just surreal. Like, you know what I really like? What's a really good feeling? Sounds really small, but when you turn on your Xbox, it just defaults. There's nobody signed in. When I pick up my controller, or I remember I did this, I was like sitting with my back to the Xbox One on my couch. So I was just sitting on the back of the couch, and I was talking to Audrey in the living room. And I had turned on my Xbox with my voice, which is awesome because it turns on your TV too.
Yeah.
And it was just sitting there idle in default state with nobody signed in. I kid you not, I looked back at my TV in the Xbox, and it took like 1 second, and it was like, "Hi, Trent," and it signed me right in because it like
That's so
it just
cool.
saw my face, and it like recognizes who's doing what when you have the controller. So when you create your profile and set up your profile, it recognizes your face from that point on. It's really fucking awesome, dude. And like the fact when I just looked at my Xbox and it's like, "Hi, Trent," and I'm like, that's so cool, man. I'm like, that's the future, and it's those moments, especially when talking to your Kinect, where you're like, I see where this is going, and I'm very glad I got an Xbox One. No regrets. I just want the Xbox store to start picking up steam, and I just want it to blow up. Don't get it. Just wait for a little bit. Like when Titanfall and Watch Dogs come out, that's when this is going to be a must-buy system, especially when Titanfall comes out. But yeah, not a must-buy at this point.
The thing that I'm excited for is because the biggest thing that I think of that I guess the PS4 has over the Xbox One is the library they're starting to gain with indie games. I mean, with their their Sony press release when they originally talked about the PS4, they talked so much about indie games, and they have a lot of like indie games on the PS Vita, the PS3. I am just really excited for that day when there's like, okay, we're gonna have all of these games now available on the PS4, and all of these old PS1 games available on the PS4. That's something I'm excited about. I'm also really excited about when they finally release the PS Vita TV for the Western audience, and I guess I could technically buy it because it's region free, but I just want to be able to play some of my PS Vita games on my TV, and I'm really excited for that. I'm really excited for all the stuff that Sony's doing. It's just going to take some time.
I think they both have. Like, come on, people, just be honest with yourselves. They both have really cool things going for them.
Oh, totally.
I mean, yes, no offense, Craig, and we're just going to be honest here. The PlayStation 4 has a camera and mic, but it's not a Kinect. The technology is not there.
No, I would say it's not even close to being as good as the Kinect. Without even having one, I would say it's not even that good at all.
Yeah, and that's gonna blow up in the future. But then also I look at the PlayStation Vita and PlayStation 4 relationship, and I'm really jealous, to be honest. Like I want that relationship, and that's something that Sony really has going for them, and Microsoft. Now, I'll be honest with you, Craig. I was playing Dead Rising 3 with my smartphone, or with my tablet. I don't know if you were there for the Dead Rising 3 stuff with Xbox, and I don't know if you can do this, but if you download the Xbox One Smart Glass app, there are some games that have companion apps while you play the game. So, example, I'll bring up the companion app for Dead Rising 3, and I'll be playing the game, and I'll get a phone call on my tablet. And this is stuff that wouldn't happen in game if I wasn't using the companion. And I'm getting access codes for secret chests in the game that I wouldn't get ordinarily. It would remain locked if I didn't use that. I'm getting texts from people in the game telling me what they're doing. You can see a map. You can call in for backup from the companion app. So it's like this cool other experience. It's nothing like a PlayStation Vita. Of course, I don't understand that, but I understand where they're going, and I can see where the future would be there. I'm really excited for that to grow with companion apps for your games.
I completely forgot to talk about something I really liked about the PS4. Remote play for the PS4 with the PS Vita.
How does that work? Doesn't the PS Vita have just 2 trigger buttons?
Or
shoulder buttons, I should say.
It has the 2 shoulder buttons, and then you also have the on the back. It has little sensors that you can use to replicate the R3 or R2, L2, and oh my gosh, it's the remote play for the PS4 to the PS Vita is so good. It looks really good. Like,
see, and I'm jealous of that kind of stuff.
Like that stuff is really cool because like I'll just be able to be like, oh man, I want to play Knack, but I have to go poop. So I'll grab my PS Vita, connect it, and then it streams essentially really fast what I'm playing on the PS Vita to the PS4, and with like very little you
mean PlayStation 4 to PlayStation Vita?
Yeah,
right?
PS4 to the PS Vita, and it looks so good on the PS Vita screen. It's incredible. And that's something that they'll continue to improve, making it better, look better, because like it's not exactly like incredibly it's not like 180p like quality, but it still looks really good. And like I'll just be upstairs playing Killzone with while watching Noah, and just be like, oh, I'm being kind of responsible dad, but I'm also playing a game as well. Which never really stopped me, really, but it's such a cool thing. And I think I love that about the PS Vita, and that's the same thing with how Xbox One is integrated tablets, or using your tablets on while you're playing a game. I think that's awesome as well.
Yeah, and they're very similar right now, and this is why I want to say wait, because the longer it goes for these consoles' lifespans, I think the more distinct and individual they're going to get. As far as personality and what they can offer. They're very similar right now. I mean, even with the PlayStation Vita, it's still like a toss-up, I feel like.
Yeah.
Depending. Now, I feel like when Xbox One starts to utilize Kinect, and then PlayStation 4 starts to utilize its Vita relationship a lot more, you're gonna be like, I want this, I'm gonna buy this. It won't even be a question, because you're just gonna have my personality fits Xbox One, I'm gonna buy Xbox One. My personality fits PlayStation 4, I'm gonna buy PlayStation 4. That's how it's gonna work. Right now, that's not really the case, but I really predict in the future going to have very different personalities, unlike last generation where 360 and PlayStation 3 they're the same too, let's be honest. Besides exclusives, I mean, no offense, I still feel like the user interface for 360 is vastly better than party chat,
incredibly better.
Multiplayer. But right now they're pretty similar, but they're going to get a lot different. So wait to see which you're more interested in. If you have a PlayStation Vita, I'd probably say get a PlayStation 4, because why would you miss out on that relationship?
Dude, that relationship is so good. Like the PS Vita with the PS4 complements each other so well, and you can use your PS Vita as a controller as well if you don't feel like using the awesome PS4 controller
for whatever reason. Yeah, and I feel like they haven't utilized really the touchpad for the PlayStation 4 controller yet, so there's untapped potential there. So
they haven't really.
So I feel like we're going to see a lot in the future. It's going to be another 8-year console lifespan, probably still. Yeah. I guess that would be the 2-player co-op perspective on the next generation of console gaming. Even though I don't own a PlayStation 4 and I haven't played it, but, I mean, we can still get a good feel off of what the other thinks.
Oh yeah.
Really quick, just going over here. Starbound came out today. I got it. Craig's gonna get it, of course. You can just buy early access on Steam, just like because that's what they do now. You can just buy early access. I probably will be streaming that tomorrow, just so you guys know. Heads up there. And Craig, we got to play that together at some point.
I know.
We got to
Deb
do
is
it.
playing it right now, actually.
Of course he is. Maybe we'll play tomorrow. I don't know what you're doing, but that would be cool. So this is two-player co-op. You can find us at saltpop.net. As far as the archives and the articles for our videos, YouTube is youtube.com/saltpopofficial. Like I said, saltpop is just like a channel, and we're just a program on that channel. That's how you can basically look at it. You can find me on Twitter at player1trent. And of course, you can find us here on twitch.tv/2 player co-op, COOP. Craig, where can people find you?
You can find me at agroxcraig on Twitter, as well, obviously on Facebook, Craig Knight. That's pretty much all you can, like, just follow me at agroxcraig. I mostly talk about sports, because that's kind of like a thing I love, because I'm bad like that on Twitter, but I will talk about video games as well.
And also facebook.com/saltpop, where you can find our article updates and when we're going to go live, or you can just follow us, please do, and you'll get an email, maybe if you subscribe to that, I know I do, of when we go live, and you can hop in, join the episode, see what we're playing, all that good stuff. I think we're going to sign off, Craig. That's it for me, Player One Trent.
And that's all you get from this guy, Player 2, Craig, because I talk real slow.
That's slow in general. All right, guys, that's going to be episode 12 for us. You guys take it easy. Have a good one. We'll see you next week.
See ya.